on that piece of the front. But again, looking back, 6-3 this week in the preseason. Again, Bengals plus 3.5 is the play tonight that we'll be looking forward to go in that one. Again, just recapping, unders bounce back this week. They go 8-7. That coming off of last week where it was just an absolute 4-2 to the 14-2 to the over. The overs crushed it. I told you on this show last week, what goes up must come down. You heard it here first from RJ. So again, the unders bounce back 8-7. Tonight, the over-under is 43.5. Really don't have a lean, but I do like Washington plus 3.5 while they wait on getting Scary Terry there back. Again, we're going to have three plays this weekend for college football. Again, I don't call it week 0. I call it opening weekend. Week 0, so stupid. I don't know why they call it that. But anyway, if you go to breaktheboardsports.com, you'll get all my notes, okay? You say, well, what's the notes, RJ? I go through each and every game, whether it's a game I give out or not. Then you have quick hitter notes. I take everything. There's so many good places out there. Like I said before, you got Action Network, OddsShark, Vegas Insider, Covers, VSiN, all the handicappers across the world, right? There's so much knowledge and so much information out there that it's hard for you, the average person that's got to go to work at a job every day, right? Whether you're a plumber or you're on Wall Street or you're a lawyer, you don't have time to be spending 7, 8, 9 hours a day breaking down games, right? You want to pick a couple games out, a couple games you have a feel for, and you want to fire off starting this weekend. That's fantastic. You can look down through those notes. In addition, you're going to get plays from our team here at Break the Board Sports, our games that we're betting ourselves. Again, 3 big plays we're firing off of this Saturday in college football, and then turn around next week. So far, I got 6 plays scheduled with me and the guys that we're going to be firing on. But I'm really excited about this Saturday's games coming up. So again, go to breaktheboardsports.com. You can get the monthly package, or you can get the whole football season, and that includes baseball, the start of hockey, start of college basketball. You'll get now through the Super Bowl for only $4.99. Again, go to breaktheboardsports.com on that. Again, we had also talked about baseball. The Brewers, their streak finally comes to an end in walk-off fashion. They did try to bounce there at the end and tie it up in the 8th and 9th. Brewers have just been rock solid, but the Reds were able to get past them. That snaps the Brewers streak, stops it at 14 games in a row. They've been just so impressive. But as impressive as they've been, you got to ask yourself, are they going to cool off, right? It's really hard. Baseball is all about runs. That's why baseball can be so profitable, but yet be so frustrating. Trust me, the Mets have frustrated me to no end with all that talent. They score runs, but that starting staff and that bullpen is an absolute disaster. You see somebody like the Dodgers that were really struggling. They turn it around this weekend, sweep the San Diego Padres. All those people that love the Padres say, Dodgers still got talent. It's just a mouse playing or cat playing with their food right now. You know, now as we start to get closer, I think you're going to see these teams starting to tighten up, starting to lock in. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Updated odds from FanDuel this morning. Again, you'll have the ticker across the bottom of the screen. Dodgers plus 310. They're still the favorite to win the World Series, but I love the team that's second. 7.5 to 1. Give me the Philadelphia Phillies. I love the Phillies starting staff. Wheeler, Sanchez hasn't gotten the due he deserves. Suarez, Nola starting to come back off the DL now. Brewers, they come in third, 8-1. Mariners 10 to 1. Tigers 10 to 1. Blue Jays 10 to 1. I can't believe there's a line on the Yankees 11 to 1. As long as Aaron Boone is in the mix, they have no shot of winning. Padres 12 to 1. Astros 13 to 1. Cubs 16 to 1. The Mets 16 to 1. The Red Sox 20 to 1. And if you're feeling a little frisky, Rangers still hanging around there. You can catch them at 65 to 1. And the Cincinnati Reds, who just beat the Brewers, Reds still hanging around. You can get the Reds at 100 to 1. I do like the Reds pitching staff. And again, we see this. These teams that get the buys, they struggle when we get to the MLB playoffs. They struggle. It's been that way the past 4 years. So hey, we're the little $10 shot to throw on the Brewers. I wouldn't go crazy. So if you're a dime better betting 1,000 a game, maybe you put $50 on it, just something. Again, I wouldn't go crazy on it. But the Reds do have the talent and they do have pitching, starting pitching as far as that goes. So something to look at. Something that I've been studying on, keeping an eye on. We talked about on the show a little bit on Thursday, and I really want to fire off. Going to give out, again, 3 futures, and they're all going to be tied to the Phillies. Again, I can't say it enough, as long as they stay healthy, but that's with every team right now, right? I absolutely love the Philadelphia Phillies. All due respect to the Brewers. What they've done has been incredible, not just the 14-game win streak. They've had 2 of those streaks now. Their record since May has been absolutely unbelievable. They've by far been the best team in baseball. I would never discount that. I just think the Phillies are the team to beat. I think the moves they made at the deadline really solidified what they needed to do. And again, I love that starting staff: Wheeler, Sanchez, Suarez. They got dudes, right? Luzardo, again, Nola coming back. They got enough. And I can make the argument when people talk about the Dodgers, and again, Dodgers did sweep the Padres. I'm not in love with the Padres starting staff. They may have the best bullpen in baseball, but the starting staff, Darvish has been beat up. King has been beat up. Cease hasn't been the same way. They have injury issues. And the same with the Dodgers, right? Ohtani, is he going to pitch 5 or 6? Is he going to pitch 3? What's he going to do? Snell coming back, though he did look very good. I just don't trust the Dodgers pitching to be healthy, because the Dodgers pitching hasn't been healthy in over the last 3 years consistently, right? Now they've got some World Series in there, but I just like the Philadelphia Phillies. So what we're going to look at is 3 futures. I love the Phillies to win it all, but I would rather get more value and look at the matchups. You can go to FanDuel to see these. Phillies versus the Mariners, my favorite, 25-1, right? The Mariners, I think, are the best team in the American League. I don't care what the standings say right now. Again, the moves they made at the deadline with Suarez and company. You already had Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh. All due respect to Aaron Judge, I don't even understand why this is a race. Cal Raleigh is the MVP. The New York Yankees, Judge is living off the name. I'm not saying he's not a great player. I'm not saying that at all. But there is no way Aaron Judge deserves to be the MVP over Cal Raleigh. Absolutely no way. So I love this Phillies-Mariners. The Mariners, when we talk about pitching, right? Castillo, Kirby, I mean, they got enough pitching, more than enough, to get this thing done. I love the Mariners. Mariners-Phillies 25-1, but a little insurance. You can also get Phillies-Blue Jays 22-1. All right, 22-1 on the Phillies versus the Blue Jays. Again, Scherzer looked a whole lot better. The only thing with the Blue Jays is, they're too erratic sometimes. But as of late, they've been more solid. I'm still not a Barrios fan, especially at home, but on the road, it's been a different story for him. Lowers came in. That southpaw has been just dealing. He's pitched extremely well. The Blue Jays got bats all up and down the lineup with Guerrero and Bichette and company. I love what they bring. And then again, though they've cooled off a lot, I do like the Tigers pitching, right? Mize, the rookies, pitched well. Skubal, Flaherty's there. So again, taking the Phillies, you got 25-1 against the Mariners, 22-1 against the Blue Jays, 22-1 against the Tigers. Those are your lines at FanDuel as of this morning. So each of those are going to be a play. Hey, look, if one hits, you're in good shape. You say, John, what if I only wanted to play one? Again, I would ride with the Phillies-Mariners. I think this is the year the Mariners get to the World Series. I love their depth up and down the lineup. I love their bullpen. I love their starting pitching, and the Phillies as well. Again, I've been on the Phillies all year long since the start of the year. I placed a wager at the beginning of the year for them to win the World Series before opening day. The only thing that ever scared me is, again, injuries. But right now, Philly seems to be rolling at the time. So those are going to be the free plays that we give out. Going to go down through the Major League Baseball card before we hop into the NFL and talking about this weekend. Again, you can go to breaktheboardsports.com, click subscribe. We appreciate all your help and all your support here on the show. You're going to have a doubleheader today. Milwaukee Brewers and the Cubs, they'll get it started at 2:20. Brewers will have Peralta going. Cubs will have Horton going. Right now, the Cubs, and let me just refresh the odds here. So we're speaking in real time and got what we need so we can make sure we give you guys the best information possible. So this has dropped a little bit. The Cubs were 126 about an hour ago, minus 118 with Horton on the Cubs. Comeback plus 100, even money on the Milwaukee Brewers. And you might say, man, that's kind of crazy that the Brewers would be underdogs here, considering where they're at. But when you look at this over the last 10 matchups, the Brewers 6-4. If you look at just them meeting up in 2025, it's a dead split, 4-4. These teams are evenly matched. So even though the Brewers have been hot, you see them as a dog, you might just want to pounce on them. Again, wait. Freddie Peralta over his last 5 starts, 3-2 with a 3.96 ERA, which Cade Horton on the other side, he's been lights out, folks. 4-1 with a .32 ERA. He has not faced the Brewers. On the flip side, Peralta, he's faced the Cubs 3 times this year. First start, a lot of success. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, didn't give up a run, struck out 7. But since then, been a tale of 2 different things. June 19th, he only lasted 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, and even worse, July 30th, just a few weeks ago, he only lasted 4 innings, giving up 5 hits, 5 earned runs, and only striking out 3. So while on the surface, you may say, well, the Milwaukee Brewers, they're so hot. The Reds beat them. Brewers are going to bounce right back. Not so fast. The Cubs have been red hot here. Now, something I like to do, just me personally, it's worked over time, is let's see how game 1 of the doubleheader plays out. And after game 1 goes across, then we can see what game 2's looking like. Right now, game 2, Talion for the Cubs is going minus $1.20. Patrick on the comeback plus 102 is the pitcher for that. Again, if I had to take game 1, I would take the Cubbies. Not going to lie. But whoever wins game 1, let's take the loser in game 2. You're going to be a small price either way. Something to look out for there. Again, that's a trend that's held true over the last 21 years of me doing this. Next game on the docket, we got the Toronto Blue Jays and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Kevin Gausman will get the call for the Blue Jays. Paul Skeens Day will get the call for the Pirates. Pirates minus 112, minus 104 on the comeback is the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, look, these teams, they matched up last year, but over the last 10 meetings, the Toronto Blue Jays are 9-1 versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. On top of that, Gausman, 3-2 with a 2.45 ERA over his last 5 starts. Paul Skeens, same record, 3-2 over his last 5 with a 2.67 ERA. He has never faced Toronto. Gausman, on the other hand, he hasn't faced the Pirates since 2021. So not a lot of good data we can pull from that. And again, now Skeens, he got lit up his last start against the Milwaukee Brewers. But again, who have the Brewers not been lighting up? A lot of people are going to look and say, hey, let's hop on Skeens. Very rarely do you get Paul Skeens this low. To me, I would stay away from this game, but if I had to bet it, I would look to the Blue Jays. Pirates are a dead team. I know Paul Skeens is going, but Skeens could go 7 innings, give up 0 or 1 runs, and still lose the game because that bullpen is disastrous at Pittsburgh. And the other thing is Pittsburgh can't hit. Right, every once in a while, they'll explode for 5 or 6 runs. That's an explosion for them. But most of the time, Pittsburgh's struggling to get 2 runs across the board. So when you look at that, it's just not really a safe thing. Again, nothing in betting is safe. But when you're making an educated decision, you're looking at all the data, and you're saying, hey, where can we go? Toronto, they're averaging 5 runs per 9 innings. Pittsburgh's offense is only averaging less than 3.5. One of the worst in the MLB. So again, Paul Skeens, that's great. Maybe you look at some player props. I stay away from Skeens' player props mainly because the strikeouts are so high. You could look here, maybe no run scored in the first inning by either team. That would be a way you could look at this and play it. I do think there's some angles you can look and say, okay, Gosman and Skeens, I should be able to get some good comeback as far as unders over the first 5. If you go first inning hits for 0 to 1 hits recorded is minus $1.30. So something you could look at there. If you're looking at first 5 total runs, you can go under 3.5 minus $1.22 if you think Skeens is going to bounce back. Again, the way he got lit up by the Brewers, the way the Pirates are a dead team, no play for the team here on this game. But we have all agreed that if we like something, they said, RJ, you got to go with Toronto. But again, not a play. St. Louis and Miami will tee off. That's going to be for St. Louis. They're going to have the southpaw Matthew Liberatore, 1-4 with a 5.95 ERA over his last 5 starts. Yuri Perez, 2-3 with a 4.10. This line has the Marlins minus 142, Cardinals plus 120 on the comeback after getting beat up by the Yankees. Your over-under is set at 7.5. Perez, he hasn't faced the Cardinals since 2023, but when he did, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits and a run is all that he gave up. Liberatore, the southpaw, he hasn't faced the Marlins since last season, but only went 3 2/3, 3 hits, 2 runs. Again, no official play on this one, but I do like the over 7.5 minus $1.15 at FanDuel right now. I think that's great value on the over, especially when you got 2 pitchers that have been serving up runs as of late. Detroit Tigers, they'll host the Houston Astros. Tigers, again, they haven't looked like that runaway team. These teams have split the last 5 meetings. They met for one set back in Houston earlier this year. Houston took 2 out of 3 in that matchup with the Detroit Tigers. They'll go in today. Spencer Arrighetti will get the call for the Astros. He's 1-4 with a 5.55 ERA. He faced the Tigers 1 time in his career. That was last year. He only lasted 1 1/3, 5 hits, 7 runs. Arrighetti got blew up by Detroit Tigers. Jack Flaherty, he's really struggled his last 5. He's a good pitcher, but he really has been on the struggle bus for the Tigers. 1-4 with a 5.25 ERA. He did face Houston earlier this year, back on April 28th. 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, only 4 strikeouts. Despite that, though, I am going to look at the Detroit Tigers, minus $1.54 on the Tigers, plus 130 on the comeback for the Stros. Over-under set at 8.5. Again, not a play that I really like on this game, but I will say the Tigers would either be Detroit or nothing. I just can't bring myself to lay $1.54 right now with the Tigers until they kind of right the ship and start playing a little bit better baseball. Next game on the docket, man, here it is, World Series matchup, the one RJ likes the most. Seattle Mariners and the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies minus 112, Mariners minus 104 on the comeback. Logan Gilbert will get the call for the Mariners. Ranger Suarez will get the call for the Phillies. Your over-under is set at 8. Phillies, they haven't faced the Mariners since last year. Last year, the Mariners took 2 out of 3 from them. Logan Gilbert, over his last 5 starts, 3-2 with a 3.14 ERA. He faced Philly last year in one of those matchups. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run is all he gave up. Suarez, 2-3 with a 6.59. He's had a really good year, but he has struggled as of late. He hasn't faced Seattle since 2022 there for him. As much as the Mariners, again, they had that little bus trip down there for the Little League World Series game. The Mets were able to snag them 2 out of 3 in that series. As much as I like the Phillies, I'm going to take the Mariners here with Gilbert minus 104. We're going to make that a play and look at the Seattle Mariners minus 104 against the Philadelphia Phillies. there in that matchup. Moving on next down the line here, we got the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox. Orioles will send out Rogers. Now, Boston is taking 6 of the last 10 head-to-head in this meeting. Rogers 4-1 with a 1.32 over his last 5. Dustin May, since coming over from the Dodgers, 2-1 with a 5.47. Earlier this year, Rogers, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs given up to the given up to the Boston Red Sox. Today, Red Sox minus 118, Orioles even money with Rogers. We're going to ride the Orioles and Rogers here on this one, even money plus 100. So we got the Mariners minus 104 and the Baltimore Orioles at even money. Next game down the line, the Atlanta Braves with Spencer Strider. They're laying 210, hosting the Chicago White Sox with Gomez, plus 176 on the comeback for the Chicago White Sox. The Braves, your over-under is set at 8.5 here. I can't lay 210. Braves, they've been way too inconsistent. But just so we give you guys some information here, again, trying to help you out, Braves, they finally got to 500, 30-30 at home. These teams last year played a 3-game set in Chicago. Believe it or not, the Chicago White Sox took 2 out of 3 from the Atlanta Bravos. Gomez, 1-0 in his debut, knocked out the Tigers, 1.80 ERA in that. Strider, 2-3 with a 6.57 ERA. When he faced the White Sox back 2 years ago at home, he went 6 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs. Now you're going to ask me to lay 210 with that guy? No, thank you. I'll pass. No play on this one for us in this game. Texas Rangers will visit the Kansas City Royals. Jack Leiter will get the call for the Rangers. Michael Waka for the Royals. Royals laying $1.26, comeback plus 108 at FanDuel. Your over-under is set at 9 in this game. Now, Leiter in this one, 2-3 with a 2.55 ERA over his last 5. Though the wins haven't been there, the ERA and the strikeout ratio has been there for him. He faced Kansas City back earlier this year, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs. They beat him up pretty good. Michael Walker, he's been on fire the last 5, 4-1 with a 2.03 ERA. He faced Texas earlier this year, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run. The last 2 times he's faced Texas, he hasn't given up more than a run in either appearance. I know Texas really needs the game. I know you're getting them at a plus price, but the way Waka's been pitching, the Royals minus 126 would be all or nothing for me. Over under, kind of want to stay away from nothing there that interests me. Cubs Brewers, we talked about that. Whoever loses game 1 of the doubleheader, I would look to wheel back with that team in game 2. That's a trend I've used over the last 21 years and has been very successful for your boy RJ here. Next on the docket, we got the LA Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies. Yamamoto will get the call for the Dodgers. Freeland will get the call for the Rockies. Dodgers laying 290 on the road. Woo! Boy, you can tell they just swept the Padres. Everybody loves the Dodgers again. Rockies with Freeland plus 235 on the comeback. Your over-under is set at 11. Again, I can't lay $3 on the road. I'll take a hard pass at that all day, every day. But hey, let's see if we can help you guys out. Rockies 19-43 at home, worst team in baseball. Dodgers 30-29 on the road. The Dodgers, the last 10 times these teams have matched up, the Dodgers have taken them 10-0. Yamamoto 3-2 with a 3.07. Freeland hasn't been bad, 3-2 with a 4.33 over his last 5 starts. But Freeland, he's been consistent. Faced the Dodgers once last year, gave up 4 runs. The year before, faced them twice, gave up 4 runs, 6 runs. So he's been pretty consistent about throwing batting practice to them. Once this year, Yamamoto faced the Rockies at home. The Dodgers won that game 8-1. And Yamamoto, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs. You know, I know the ball can travel out there in Colorado, and I'm not an over-under player, right? Full disclosure, we got AJ. He's an over-under guy. We got Robo. She's really in the player props, right? RJ, your boy, I'm a spread guy, money line kind of guy. looking for stuff that way. I'll give out a few of their stuff as far as player props and all that stuff. But this game, I would look to the under 11. Okay. Yamamoto, if he hangs in there, your under 11's at even money. The over, it's juiced to the over minus 122. So I think there's incredible value here with the under 11 at even money. So we're going to take a stab at that. We'll have the Orioles even money on the money line, the under 11 and the Rockies Dodgers even money on the under. And then we're going to take the Seattle Mariners minus 104. So again, we're not getting heavily juiced out. Got some good mix in there. Again, we'll have some write-ups on some of these games so you guys can go down through it, breaktheboardsports.com. Look for that stuff after 2 o'clock on the Eastern time. Cincinnati Reds against the LA Angels. Reds on the road laying $1.12. Come back on the Angels minus 104. Your over-under is set at 9. Brady Singer will get the call for the Cincinnati Reds, 3-2 with a 4.26 ERA. Last time he faced the Angels was back in 2023, went 5 1/3, 8 hits, 2 runs. Angels will send out Victor Medeiros. He's only had one start. That was against the Dodgers last week. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs. Reds have absolutely dominated the Angels since 2019. They've won 8 straight. So, again, that kind of tells you all you need to know. Reds are still in the thick of things. A game back here in the National League wild card. Going to go ahead and take a shot, though. I don't like the emotion of beating the Reds and then traveling from Cincinnati to the West Coast. I'm not real crazy about that. However, I'll go ahead and go with it. We'll go ahead and take the Cincinnati Reds here at a short price, minus 112. I expect by the time we get to game time, 9:39 on the East Coast, I expect that line to go from 112 to about $1.30, maybe north of $1.30, just a little bit. So remember I said that. Guardians at the D-backs. D-backs haven't named a starting pitcher. Let's make them the favorite anyway, minus 116. Gavin Williams will get the call for the Guardians. The Diamondbacks, after their fire sale, just hasn't gotten any better. As I update here, Zach Gallen will get the call for the D-backs. That's why they're favored. They're favored based off name. They have won 7 of the last 10 against the Guardians. Williams 3-2 with a 3-2 with a 2.35 ERA. He's never faced the D-backs. Zach Gallen, pitcher for the D-backs, 3-2 with a 4.97. He faced Cleveland last year in Arizona and gave up over 7 innings, gave up 8 hits, 5 runs. So, again, for me, it would either be the Guardians at even money here, minus 105. The Bucks, they just squeeze you any way they can, trying to get you minus on both sides. But if I had to take a team here, it would be the Guardians. No way I could get behind the D-backs. They just came off losing 2 in a row to the Rockies. I actually had them and gave them out to all of our players the other night. And they gave up 6 runs, I think, 8 runs in the bottom of the 8th or something like that. We had a 5-run lead and lost the game in the bottom of the 8th. Just absolutely incredible. And after that, I said, you know what? The season's almost over. I don't want anything to do with riding the D-backs. San Francisco Giants, they'll send Robbie Ray to the hill against Nestor Cortez of the Padres. Now, the Padres minus $1.42. I can't lay $1.42 with Cortez. Ray plus 120 on the comeback. Your over-under is set at 8. Now, Padres, they've won 8 of the last 10 and 3 in a row. They swept San Francisco in San Francisco last week. Robbie Ray, 2-3 with a 4.34 ERA over his last 5 starts. He's faced San Diego twice this year. 6 innings, 7 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 runs. So San Diego, with that dynamic lineup's been able to get to him. Cortez, over his last 5 starts, again, I'm not a fan of this southpaw, but he is 3-0, but the ERA, 4.24 over his last 5. He's just been blessed with some run support for sure. He faced San Francisco earlier this year, actually last week, back on August 12th, 4 2/3, 6 hits, 1 run for Cortez. Listen, I will say this. I'm not a fan of laying $1.42 with old Lester Nestor there, but Padres just got swept by the Dodgers. They got to get back on the horse. Giants did just win against the Rays, but much as I hate to do it, $1.42, we're going to give that out on the Padres. So we got 4 plays today. We're going to go Padres minus $1.42. We're going to go Reds minus $1.12. We're going to go under 11 in the Dodgers-Rockies game. We're going to go Orioles at even money. And lastly, we're going to go Seattle minus 104. So actually 5 plays on the docket. We'll get those up on the site. Again, breaktheboardsports.com. You can come on board. We got 3 big college football games we're giving out this weekend, a minimum of 6 next weekend that our team's already placed bets put down on. You sign up, you get all of the NFL, all the college football, all the notes on every game, get full access. You also get 2 emails per month and a phone call with your boy RJ where we can discuss handicapping. And on top of that, we're going to throw in all the baseball, hockey, basketball to take you through the Super Bowl just for a one-time price, $4.99, or you can do a monthly $64.99 per month to get all that action. Don't wait here. Moving on, as we get to we get to the NFL tonight. Just touch back on it again. Bengals at Redskins. Bengals laying 3.5 on the road. Your over-under is set to 43.5 in that one. I do like the Redskins getting 3.5 there. The over-under just actually dropped a point. It's now down to 42.5, juiced minus 122. You're over there at FanDuel. Let's go ahead and get into NFL preseason week 3. Again, week 2, the unders bounced back, leveled out a little bit. I always tell you what goes up must come down. It's just a matter of when. Very quick turnaround last week, 14-2 to the over, 8-7 to the under. So again, these lines are going to move. This past week in the NFL, we saw all the over-unders except 2 move 2 to 3 points to the over. We saw spreads move 2 points to 2.5 points. So what I go over now, by the time we wrap back around to Thursday's show, going to look completely different, folks. Going to look completely different. But let's run through it and see what we got. Pittsburgh Pirates at the Carolina Panthers will be Thursday. Pittsburgh laying 3. Your over-under is going to be set at 36.5. Patriots Giants on Thursday. Giants laying 3.5. Your over-under set to 38.5. First thing that pops out there is I do like the under. I think both of these teams, Vrabel back with the Patriots, I think he's going to have that defense being legit. Again, we got a short being released on the Patriots. Check that out. Some good value there. And the Giants, I think their defense, I'm not sure about the Russell Wilson experiment. I saw Jackson Dart up close at Ole Miss, went to the game with my family. My son wanted to knock that college visit off his list. So we went there, and I watched Jackson Dart poop the bed, throwing interception after interception against Kentucky. I understand he looked good in the preseason, but I remember as a Redskin fan, I used to see people like friggin' Heath Schuler and Jeff Rutledge and the Taylor Heineke's and the Gus Frerots. They looked great in the preseason also. You get them in an NFL game, they couldn't last. So I try not to take a lot out of preseason. Again, you look at somebody like Caleb Williams. We'll talk about him in a minute, but lit it up last night, right? Caleb Williams, 6 of 10, 107 yards and a TD. New coach Ben Johnson, elated about him. Talked about how great he ran the offense. Bears won 38-0. It was preseason, and the Bills had one defensive starter and no Josh Allen on the field. Again, not trying to knock by no means what Caleb Williams did. I just think we need to keep it in perspective and look at it for what it is, okay? But anyway, 6-3 this week in the preseason. As we look ahead, this Giants experiment, like I said, really interested to see how that breaks down. Eagles, Jets on Friday. Jets laying 1.5. That's the last time you will ever see that in your existence. The Jets favored over the Eagles. That's how you know it's preseason. Your over-under set at 37.5. I do expect with Aaron Glenn that game to go under. I would like that to creep up 39.5 or 40, just a little insurance. Minnesota Vikings at the Tennessee Titans. Would be nice to see J.J. McCarthy on the field against Cam Ward, but we'll see if we get there or not. The Titans right now laying 1.5. Your over-under set to 37.5 right off the bat. I do like the under in that game. But we'll see how it moves. We'll give out official plays on Thursday's show. Again, every Monday, Thursday, you can catch us here 10:30 a.m. Eastern time live. Go for about an hour. And then you'll start seeing the shorts and the notes popping up today as we start diving into college football. A lot of information with college football, a lot of information with the NFL, a lot of betting trends, all that stuff, giving you guys some good stuff to look at and help you with your handicapping here at breaktheboardsports.com. Falcons will visit them Cowboys. Micah Parsons, that situation's still a disaster. The Jerry Jones way. Cowboys laying 4.5, over under 36.5. Nothing that really jumps at me. I would say if I had to make a play, though, I would look at the Falcons. Did hear some interesting stuff. Obviously, we got all this stuff with Matthew Stafford and kind of where he's at with his health and all that. Somebody threw out some earlier today. It was actually Jensen Lewis, guy over there at Visa, and they do a great job, morning show, about do the Rams call up Atlanta and be like, hey, Kirk Cousins available? Not a bad look, right? He could fit in real quick. Jimmy G is the backup there, but you never know about his health. You can't play Stetson Bennett because you can't get him away from the kegerator. But just something to keep an eye on. I thought that was a really sharp idea. I also think I heard Mike Tannenbaum say this, ESPN, last week. He gave a scenario for Buffalo. Listen, even if Dallas signs Micah, I still don't think that relationship is repairable. Right? And everything we do in life is based off relationships. I love Buffalo. You know, they tried it with Von Miller. Von Miller's just, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, but his better days have passed him. I love the idea of Buffalo and even a Kansas City, as much as I hate to say it, or a Chargers. One of those AFC, because the Cowboys would never trade Micah to the NFC. Not even Jerry Jones is that dumb. He's pretty dumb, but he's not that dumb, right? Not dumb as a businessman. Horrifically dumb as an owner. But I will say an AFC team that if you're on the fringe, Bills, Chiefs, you're going to be picking in the 20s as long as you have your Josh Allens and your Pat Mahomes and your Justin Herberts and these guys that are going to be around for another decade, right? You're not going to have a high draft pick unless there's some crazy year, God forbid, one of them gets hurt. They don't play well, so you just have a random high pick. I call up and I sell my draft for a Micah Parsons. If you're Buffalo, Micah Parsons gets you there. He gets you there, right? So just some Mike Tannenbaum guy, give him credit. I didn't think of it. Again, I take in information, share it with you guys, whether it's guys over there at Visa that do a great job, Wager Talk covers. That's what I try to do. I try to take all information, Paul Stone, great people out there, Ken Thompson. I try to create it all in one little quick hitter bubble for you so you can get it and go and you don't have to go and look at all this stuff. Bears at Chiefs. Chiefs laying 3.5, over under set at 39.5. I'll be interested to see Caleb Williams, how Ben Johnson, new head coach of the Bears, came over from the Lions. He was gloating about Caleb. I'll be interested to see how much he puts him behind center this week. Ravens at the Redskins. Ravens will be laying 2.5, over under 35.5. Again, I gave out 6-3 this weekend in the NFL preseason on give outs for us. Should have been 7-2. God forbid if we missed that field goal at the end of the Bucs game with the guys there, but we'll take 6-3. Ravens was a play we had on the money line against the Cowboys. So they'll be heading to Washington to play the Redskins again. Ravens laying 2.5, over under set at 35.5. Colts at Bengals. Colts will be laying 2.5. Your over-under set at 38.5. Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson. Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? Does it really matter? A lot of people high on the Colts, and I understand this is a good roster. Not going to deny that, okay? But you're trying to convince me that Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones is a guy that can lead his team to the playoffs, right? You know, I say, well, Daniel Jones got there. Yeah, of course he did. He had Saquon Barkley into that. I just don't know. And I'm not sure if Shane Steichen brings that kind of cachet. And I'm not saying that the Texans are this great team, but I do think if you're lining up coaches, right, like the Texans are better than the Colts. The roster's better, the quarterback's better, the head coach is better. right? Tennessee, they're not going to win the division. Jacksonville, I can make the argument Jacksonville offensively has more talent than the Colts. Right now, the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. I'm not saying there's not something there to work with. Now, look, if the Colts, they had a good quarterback, yeah, I'd be all over the Colts to win the division. I just can't step out there and be like, hey, yeah, I think Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, I'm going to put my money on them. Week 1, they're laying a 1.5 to Miami, and there's no way I'm doing that. No way I'm doing that, right? I know Miami is a mess, but Miami still has that talent they have on offense. Miami can still put up 30 like that, right? Not saying they're going to, just saying they have the talent to. So I'm not sold on this whole Colts thing that everybody's trying to shove down my throat, talking about, oh, the Colts. It's Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. I can't get there. Laying 2.5 against the Bengals, over under 38.5. Rams, we just talked about the Matthew Stafford situation. They'll be at Cleveland. Cleveland, what a mess, right? Sanders, then, Dylan Gabriel's taking some heat for his comments. I still believe I know Joe Flacco's not going to get you there, but I still believe Joe Flacco's got to be your starter at least the first 3 or 4 weeks. Try to give the team some hope, because if you go with the young quarterback, it's telling Myles Garrett and some of those other guys, hey, look, we're packing it in. Put Flacco out there. Let Sanders, Gabriel, whoever it's going to be. I think Shador's the quarterback for that team. I'm not a Dylan Gabriel guy. I'm for darn sure not a Kenny Pickett guy. I would actually cut Kenny Pickett if it were me. In his small hands, I would go Joe Flacco. I would go Shador as the backup, and I'd keep Gabriel as the number 3 quarterback, emergency quarterback. Let him get reps in practice, scout team, let him get better. That's the way I would go. But, hey, Cleveland hasn't called and asked me, and, well, that's probably why their franchise has been a disaster for years. They're laying 4.5 to the Rams in Cleveland, over under set at 37.5. Texans at the Lions. Lions laying 1.5 at home, over under 36.5. Lions now 0-2 in the preseason. I actually like the Lions to get a win. They lost at home to Miami. This is their last preseason game at home. I think you'll get more of a dress rehearsal from them. So I do like the Lions. I probably wouldn't lay the 1.5 minus 115. I'd pay just a little bit more juice and lay the $1.26 on the money line. Broncos at Saints. Broncos laying 3.5, over under 37.5. Listen, you can't lay almost $2 with the Broncos on the money line, but just because Sean Payton's that dude and he used to coach the Saints, I would imagine he'd go in there and thump them, right? That would just be my assessment of that. Talking about the Broncos, going to have a good write-up on them. That's going to come out on Thursday on their over-under and kind of looking at their season. They're another one. I really like the defense. I like the pieces. I like Bo Nix. I love Sean Payton. I think we all need to pump the brakes on this, trying to make a case for Denver and LA that they're going to overthrow Kansas City, right? Like, Kansas City is going to be better this year than last year. I think we can all agree on that, right? Just from a pure roster standpoint, okay? And I know everybody wants to see the Mahomes, Kelsey, Andy Reid era take a kerplunge, right? We all lived through the Patriots run, and every year, this is the year the Patriots are going to fall. This is the year the Patriots are going to fall, and it absolutely never, ever happened. The Chiefs are not going to lose this division. 5-unit play, Chiefs minus $1.20 to win the AFC West. The Chargers and the Broncos, I'm sorry, folks, you people picking the Broncos, and there's some of you I really respect, and I keep hearing you talk about how the Broncos are going to win the division. Broncos might go to the Super Bowl. Bo Nix ain't that good. Bo Nix ain't that good. Bo Nix is not better than Justin Herbert. Now, the Broncos roster may be better. I think the Broncos are a playoff team. But let's not act like, did y'all forget that game at Buffalo? Because if the Broncos don't win the division, and they're not going to, the Chiefs were 14-2 last year and have a better roster this year. Keep that in mind. The Broncos are going to have to go on the road. So they're going to have to go somewhere, to a Baltimore, to a Houston. They're going to have to go somewhere, right? So they're not getting a home game at Mile High where they got the altitude and the weather and all that on their side. Not going to happen, right? So, again, I think the Broncos are a good team. I could see you maybe wanting to tinker and say, hey, they're going to get to 10 wins, go over their win total. I'm sold on all that. You people saying that they're going to win the AFC West, you've lost your minds, right? You've just absolutely lost your minds. Y'all know better. Shouldn't be putting out stuff like that. You're just trying to pick a home run winner, right? So you look smart. Stop that. Chiefs are winning the division. Pat Mahomes can get hurt, and they're still winning the division. Just what's going to happen. Seahawks at the Packers. Seahawks laying 1.5. You're over under 38.5. Seattle's been very impressive in the preseason. But again, you see a lot of these newer coaches, it's McDonald's second year. You see a lot of these newer coaches really try to use preseason, one, to get momentum, which I get, but it's not really a realization to what's going to be in the regular season. The whole Sam Darnold thing in Seattle, Metcalf going away. I know McDonald's going to have that defense roaring. He did in Baltimore, did a phenomenal job. I just don't know if I can buy into the Seahawks being better than the 49ers, being better than the Rams. Now, the whole Rams thing, I don't think this Stafford thing is as big of a deal. And I could be totally wrong, but I would be shocked not to see Matthew Stafford out there week 1. Shocked. But we'll see what happens. Jaguars at Miami, Battle of Florida. Miami laying 3, over under 38.5 in that one. Buffalo Saturday, they head to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay laying 1.5. You're over under 37.5. Chargers will go up to Santa Clara and visit the 49ers. 49ers laying 3, over under 37.5. And it rounds out Saturday night late game. Raiders, again, their team, Pete Carroll coming in, making a difference, trying to make a statement, using the preseason. Alshon Jeffrey, I think he's going to be a monster. The key for the Raiders will be, can Geno not turn over the ball? And this is why I know Pete Carroll's going to make that defense better. Listen, when we're in there talking about the Broncos and the Chargers, and again, I think they're going to be much better. Not saying that they're not. And I believe both of those teams are going to make the playoffs, which would mean the Raiders aren't. But I think the Raiders are going to cause a ton of problems for a lot of teams. And there will be a write-up about this game. And again, I'm not saying I'm taking the Raiders. We got a couple weeks. I want to see how the line shifts, moves. But your boy RJ, listen, I don't think, everybody loves New England to come out at home with Mike Vrabel and smash the Raiders. I'm not saying I'm taking the Raiders. Right? I don't know. But I can tell you this. I ain't laying points with New England. Right? I'm not. Drake May is not there yet. Again, we're going to have a good write-up. Comes out today on the Patriots. You can go check that out. BreakTheBoardSports.com. There will be a short here. Click the subscribe button for us. Follow us on all of them. I'll be giving out 2 videos every day. There will be little shorts, 8 to 12-minute pops, just talking about team over under, win totals. We'll get into college football, a couple other things, moving that along. So that's your slate. That is your slate for college foot or for NFL preseason this coming week there for you. Going across to wrap up here before we get out of here. Again, remember, BreakTheBoardSports.com. Got 3 plays coming up this coming weekend that we absolutely love. Want to talk about college football real quick because I was playing around again. DraftKings, FanDuel, they all do a phenomenal job. But you can get, and I want to see if I can get it pulled up here, because if you go around, I don't know how much you guys do this, just sitting around and just start playing with, hey, can I get teams to match up with things, right? Or like what kind, I know a lot of y'all like parlays, and I'm not a big guy on long parlays, mainly because it takes so long to get your money, right? I don't like having money set out there. But a couple of things. One, this whole Big 12, there will be a short on the Big 12 coming out on Wednesday. The Big 12, a lot of good teams in it. I'm kind of fading Arizona State this year. I know a lot of people are high on Texas Tech. They got 21 returning starters coming back. K-State, Utah State, Texas State. They all share 5.5 to 1 there at the top. I like Utah. I like their path. Okay. I like their schedule. There's a game, they start off at UCLA and they got to go to BYU, but everybody else they get at home. They get Arizona State at home. They get Texas Tech at home. Utah, very difficult place to play. And Kyle Willingham, he always does a phenomenal job up there with the Utes. So I also know I love Clemson. All right. Clemson at worst, even if everything fell apart, would be 10-2. They're going to make the college football playoff. I don't have any kind of doubts or questions about that whatsoever. But I was just looking around. If you go and you take, you could take a 3-team parlay, and this was very interesting. You can take Boise State to win the Mountain West. I don't think San Jose State or UNLV got anything for them. I think UNLV had a very nice season last year, but to say they're going to wheel back and give them a fight, I just don't see that. Clemson to win the ACC. Again, I know Miami is really the only other competition there. Miami, you can get it 4-1 right now. Clemson plus 105. But 3-team parlay: Clemson to win the ACC, Boise State to win the Mountain West, Utah to win the Big 12, get you an amazing 23 to 1. So basically, you lay $100 down, you're going to get 2,300 on the comeback, 2282 to be precise. So that's going to be a play. That's a future play that I do like. So again, Clemson to win the ACC, Boise State to win the Mountain West, Utah to win the Big 12. $100 brings you back 2,300 on there. I also looked at to make the college football playoff. There's a couple different teams out there I want to look at. Again, one thing, Clemson minus 192. I thought that was a little high, but what I did with it is if you go into FanDuel, you can go to make the playoffs. I put Clemson to make the playoff minus 192. And then I went to the NFL and started adding it to it because, higher juice, you got to add some. But again, you're just looking to get across the finish line here. 5-team parlay: Clemson to make the college football playoff, Buffalo Bills to make the playoffs, Baltimore Ravens. 6-team parlay: Clemson to make the college football playoff, the Buffalo Bills to make it, the NFL playoffs, the Ravens to make the NFL playoffs, the Eagles to make the NFL playoffs, the Chiefs to make the NFL playoffs. That right there probably going to be 4 division winners. Let's just be real. And I also threw in the Detroit Lions because even if the Lions get overthrown in the division, the Lions are making the playoffs. Dan Campbell's too good of a coach, too good of a motivator. That team has far too much talent on it. So if you take that 6-team parlay, you can get 5-1 there. So 100 will bring you back 500. More of a play for a higher player that's going to play a dime minimum. 1,000 will bring you back 5,000. You'll be able to cash that probably before the NFL season is even over because they're already going to start locking their seeds up probably around week 14, week 15, be locking in their playoff spots. So sometime right around Christmas, you'll have that money, pay for Christmas gifts for the family, something everybody will like there. So a couple things that I was looking at, a couple other things. As of note, you got some teams that you can take to miss the playoffs in the NFL. And one that I was looking at down here that I found very interesting. I know a lot of people are high on the Minnesota Vikings, but if you just took teams to miss the playoffs, right? Again, just fun going through it. I don't know if my Redskins are going to bounce back either. Yeah, they got a lot of luck last year. Got overtime wins, got Hail Marys that happened, field goals at the bottom. Just a lot of stuff went their way. But right now, if you go to miss the playoffs and you were to take the Minnesota Vikings, you were to take the New England Patriots, you were to take the Chicago Bears, and you were to take the Dallas Cowboys, and you were to take the Las Vegas Raiders, right? 5 teams to miss the playoffs. Vikings, Patriots, Bears, Cowboys, Raiders, all to miss the playoffs. You can get 8-1 on that. So we'll also have some player props coming out. notes on all that stuff. So just some stuff I wanted to share. But again, I really like that college football one, 23-1. Clemson to win the ACC. I really don't know how they don't win the ACC. I just can't fathom that one. And then taking Boise State, same thing. I don't see how they don't win the Mountain West. I know Alshon Jeanty is gone. That's a big hole for them to fill, but I still like Boise State. Still love what they do. So I would look for them to win the Mountain West and then putting Utah with it. You can also do it two ways. Maybe do Utah and Texas Tech, right? If you're a big Texas Tech guy. I just like Utah's path. When we have our Big 12 show and I'm talking about each team's schedule and going in, you can kind of see the path and what I'm talking about. And you'll be like, yeah, Utah does have the easier path because all the tough teams, they got them at home, right? As to where Texas Tech, all the tough teams in the Big 12, they got them on the road. Very different on the road in college football. Winning on the road in college football or college basketball, much harder than winning on the road in like the NBA or even the NFL. There are a couple hard stadiums in the NFL, your Chiefs, Packers, Broncos, but a lot of them, it's there's an edge, but there's not the edge you have in a college football stadium. So just wanted to point that out there. We'll run through the college football lines again. It gets started this week. We got 3 plays that's firing off Saturday. They're going to be all of them are going to be double unit plays. So Don Better got a couple $2,000 games out there for you. Again, go to breaktheboardsports.com. You can get all sports, all notes, 2 emails a month, 1 phone call with your boy RJ here. At least a 15-minute conversation just talking about handicapping, ask me questions you want, help you down through it. We can go through all that. You can sign up from now through the Super Bowl with all the picks, everything across all sports for only $4.99, or you can sign up on our monthly $64.99, breaktheboardsports.com. Right now, K-State, Iowa State over in Ireland. K-State laying 3.5, over under set at 49.5. Money line, K-State minus $1.52. It's went down. It was $1.65. Iowa State plus 126 on the comeback. UNLV, Idaho State. UNLV laying 25.5. Your over-under is tagged at 64.5 in that one. Moving next, just hit refresh here. Make sure you have all the lines. Fresno State at Kansas. Fresno State on the road at Kansas. E.J. Warner, quarterback of Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, will get the call for Fresno. Daniels back for his 6th season at quarterback for Kansas. Kansas laying 12.5. Your over-under is 50.5. Right now, betting splits over there. If you go to Circa and DraftKings over at VSiN, Kansas getting in 70% of the tickets, 30% of the tickets by way of Fresno. But the money dead heat even pretty much. Kansas taking 51% of the handle, 49% of the handle goes to Fresno State. Sam Houston State at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky, this has bounced around between 9.5 and 10.5. Right now, as of this morning, 11:33 on the East Coast time, Western Kentucky picked to finish first in that conference despite returning less than 6 starters on both sides of the ball, laying 10. You're over under 60.5, 66% of bets going to the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky, 34% of bets to Sam Houston. Your handle, 76% of the handle. All the money is on Western Kentucky, 24% on the comeback for Sam Houston. The day will end in the nightcapper, Stanford at Hawaii over there on the island. Frank Reich making his head coaching debut. Andrew Luck, that regime now taking over Stanford. I have no doubt they're going to get that program turned around. How quick is the answer, right? It's hard to recruit at these high-level institutions for academics, but Stanford had a lot of success when they had Andrew Luck. I know him and Frank Reich together. Frank Reich's a really great offensive mind. They'll get that turned around. But Hawaii laying 2.5. This opened up Stanford minus 2.5. It's now flipped to Hawaii minus 2.5. 38% of bets on Hawaii, 62% on Stanford. Over under 52.5. The under is getting all the love. 92% of the handle to the under, 8% of the handle to the over. So a lot of people loving that 52.5. It's actually went up. Was 49.5, was 50.5, went to 52.5. So now we'll see if we get a little bit of buyback to move that line, push it down. 72% of the handle on Hawaii with the 38% bet. So a flip there. Less tickets, but more money Hawaii. More tickets, but less money Stanford. Typical Joe's Pros matchup here. Public like in Stanford, sharps like in Hawaii. That's what it is. We'll run down through, not going to run down through the splits because we got 10 days before we get into these. But Boise State laying 6 at South Florida. NC State laying 11.5 at home against East Carolina. Nebraska laying 6.5 at Cincinnati. Big one next Friday night. Sneaky great game. Auburn at Baylor. Auburn laying 2.5. Georgia Tech, Colorado. What's Colorado going to look like without Shedeur Sanders? Colorado catching 4 at home as a home dog. Looking to Saturday. Next Saturday, that's when it really gets going. Week 1. Texas, Ohio State. Been so much chatter about it. First time ever an AP number 1 team is a dog in a game. That's the case for Texas with Sarkisian and Arch Manning. They'll go on the road to the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Buckeyes laying 2.5. You're over under 47.5. That has dropped a whole field goal. Toledo at Kentucky. Kentucky will be laying 8.5. ODU will go to Indiana. Again, Indiana, big surprise last year making the college football playoff. They'll be laying 22.5. Penn State, they'll be laying 45 to Nevada. Georgia laying 39.5 at home to Marshall. Another great game. Alabama at Florida State. Alabama laying 13.5. That line has not moved. It has been frozen despite 84% of tickets and 92% of handle. It's been all Alabama all the time. People just expecting Alabama to blow out Florida State. Michigan laying 36.5 at home to New Mexico. Big one Saturday night. Again, you got Texas, Ohio State during the day. You come at nighttime, you got LSU at Clemson. Clemson laying 3.5 right now at home. Dead heat on the ticket count. Handle slightly to LSU's side, 57%, 43% to Clemson. Your over-under set at 57.5. Cal will go to Oregon State. Oregon State laying 3. Utah, UCLA. We talked about that game. That game is up to Utah -6. 65% of bets and 95% of the handle. It is all Utes all the time, and the over is getting pounded. 79% of tickets, 91% of the handle on the over 50.5. Flipping over to Sunday, you'll have South Carolina, Virginia Tech. That's a neutral site game there in the Georgia Dome. South Carolina laying 7.5 right now, all the tickets, but the handle's a little close, but ticket count massively in South Carolina's favor. 82% to the Gamecocks, 18% to the Hokies. Notre Dame, Florida, the third matchup. We have 3 matchups that feature 2 teams ranked in the top 10 facing each other. We got Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, and then Sunday night we got a doozy, folks. The Catholics versus the Convicts is back. Notre Dame laying 2.5 at Miami and Beck. Right now, all tickets, all bets are rolling on Notre Dame. Over under 49.5. All money is on the under. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Notre Dame still got the quarterback battle. I think CJ Carr is going to win it out, but we'll see how that goes. And then Monday night, Labor Day, we top it off with a game that I'm going to be very intrigued on how the money lands on this one. TCU is at North Carolina. Bill Belichick and his girlfriend make their debut. TCU laying 3.5. Your over-under in that game is 58.5. 38% of tickets are on TCU, 62% on North Carolina, but only 21% of the handle on North Carolina, an overwhelming 79% TCU. So a little bit of public money it's looking like on the Tar Heels, sharps like in TCU. I know a lot of people are down on North Carolina. All I'll say is I'm not going to count Belichick out till I see it. Again, we'll have some shorts coming out today. Tomorrow we have 2. Every day starting today we'll have 2 shorts out, but you can catch us every Monday and Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, recapping the weekend, looking ahead. Now that football's here, Monday morning will be kind of like a Monday morning quarterback review and looking ahead to the games and the lines. Thursday, we'll look and see how the lines move throughout the week, be given some betting trends. If you want notes because you're like, hey, I don't have time to log on and listen, hey, no problem. If you do log on, click that subscribe button for us, but go to breaktheboardsports.com, sign up for a monthly package at $64.99 or save yourself $499 from now through February of the Super Bowl. You go all the way through the day of Super Bowl, not just college, not just NFL. You're going to get all the baseball playoffs, the start of the NBA, the start of college basketball, the start of NHL. It goes on and on and on. 6 months for only $499, or you can spend a bunch of money and, spend $64 a month, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But, hey, it's your money. Do what you want. I'm only here, your boy RJ Cash, trying to help you become better bettors. You'll have notes on each and every game. So not only will you get our team's picks, you'll also have notes that you can pull up, and while you're sitting at the sports book, do your own studying, because I know everybody loves picking their own games. Again, thank you for the support. BreakTheBoardSports.com. Click that subscribe and appreciate you. We'll see you guys Thursday.